Hello, everybody. This is Studio Talk, and my name is Barry Johns. So today I'm going to pull out my crystal ball here, okay, and I'm going to make a prediction. So yeah, you can't see this crystal ball, but it is so clear to me. Before I get to that, let me let you know, since I started this channel, I made quite a few predictions. Now, I'm not bragging or anything. You could argue that I've just gotten luckier. You could argue that, hey, some of your predictions are, come on, Barry, it's kind of common sense. I can't argue with some of that. But at the end of the day, I'm batting 1,000. I've gotten every one of them right so far. And so I kind of look for the indicators and look for the timeline of things. And so I think without a doubt, we're due for an update on the Universal Audio Apollo. You know, I think we're going to see two things in NAMM 2023, their winter NAMM. I think we're going to see a Universal Audio branded Townsend Labs microphone where they're going to put their name on it, hopefully combine the technologies that they've both combined together, intellectual property of Townsend Labs as well as intellectual property of Universal Audio, put those things together and make that thing even better, okay? And it's already a very good mic modeler. You can check out one of my previous videos really about buying clone versus mic modeling. Depending on your circumstances, one may or may not be a better choice for you or not. Go check that video out. So, but I think that's going to happen. I think next up, I think we're going to see not a rebranding, but a new revision of the Universal Audio Apollo series interfaces. I think it's due for that. I think if you watch my channel for any length of time, you know that I have had some criticism of Universal Audio. So let me kind of clear that up before I get into the nitty gritty here. First and foremost, I am today and always have been a big fan of Universal Audio. Of course, in their hardware units, kind of hard not to be there, but also in their software/digital interfaces. I'm a big fan. I think they make some of the very best plugins that money can buy, although competition is getting fierce and is really narrowing that gap to where it used to be all of them. I would argue today it's not. It's probably a smaller percentage. From a comparable quality, may not be the exact same piece or whatever. But if there's one thing you know, if you're going to use a Universal Audio plugin, you know you're going to get a great sounding plugin. Probably is just about as good as it's going to get without going to external hardware. So now that I've talked about that, let me just say, the criticism I've had for Universal Audio has been the fact that they haven't updated the DSP processing power in their UAD devices. And that would be their satellite units as well as what's in the Apollo series of units. I think that's really overdue for an update. And I think that's what we're going to see in NAMM of 2023. Now, I think they're going to copy Avid, and I hate to say that, they're going to copy Avid's playbook as far as what they did with the Carbon. I think that's a way to utilize their existing DSP without necessarily needing to give you a ton more power and give you the ability when you need it to put that particular channel in record mode. And then when you do it in record mode, you're recording through the plugin. When you're out of that, you can use the plugin natively. What had to happen first, and I did predict Universal Audio was going subscription, and they've already started that. I got a lot of people telling me I was out of my mind. Well, I guess I wasn't, was I? And so I think they've already started doing that. They've been doing a great job on regularly updating plugins and moving those over into the subscription program. And I'm a subscriber of those plugins. I think it's worth the $20 a month. I think quantity is not everything. I think I'll take quality over quantity any day of the week. And so I use a lot of those plugins on my sessions all the time. And so the more and more they do that, eventually they're just going to have to continue to do that. As computers are getting more and more powerful, we've made that transition to where DSP and tracking is not as compelling as it used to be, simply because for those of you that have been in the UAD DSP for a while, you probably still think the way you did when you got into it, thinking, hey, I need this DSP because my computer can't keep up. Well, things have changed. I have been tracking through plugins for years now that are non-DSP and having no issue whatsoever. Can you do it through every single one? No, but most of them you can. The latency on most plugins today is fairly minimal. And so Then there's also the group out there, which is probably a lot of you guys out there, in that you do a lot of virtual instruments. And that is where it's handy having DSP for sure. That way you can always keep your buffer set to a high buffer so you can be able to play all of that back and while you're tracking. So I think that's super important if you're in that situation. You know, Avid dominated the DSP really platform for a very, very, very long time. And when Universal Audio came out with their DSP, it was the beginnings of a game changer. You know, I was an adopter of the UAD1, but you really couldn't do much on those cards. And so that was the beginning stages. When they came out with their Apollo, they were going head to head and competing directly with Avid at a fraction of the cost. And so that's what made it so compelling, which is why they're so very, very popular today. And so I think we're going to see that because of what Avid did with the Carbon. The Carbon enables you to be able to record ARMA track, and then you're activating the DSP. Basically, a Carbon has half of an HDX card, and so you're tracking through that particular plugin, and also any aux you may have, you may be going to, maybe it's a reverb delay, whatever it may be, that also goes in DSP. And once you're done tracking, you just disable the record ARM tracks from DSP back to native, and then you can process natively, keeping that same plugin on that particular track. So that really was kind of a beginning of a game changer for to get into DSP for those that needed it in the Avid world without having to go out and buy an HDX card, an HDIO, and then of course have to use Pro Tools Ultimate. And so you can do that with Pro Tools Studio, I think they call it today. You can do it with that and have a much less cost annually to be able to keep that up. So that really enabled it. And what it really did for Avid is they didn't have to sink a bunch of money into new DSP technology with HDX. And so I think what I'm predicting happen, again, 2023 NAMM, is Universal Audio is going to come out and they're going to revise their Apollo line. They'll probably start with some top tier stuff and then work their way down, is my guess. And I think we're going to see that early next year. And I think that would be a great move on behalf of Universal Audio. Instead of having to continue this thought process of continued development with DSP, you know, it's just a matter of time where no one, and I repeat, no one will have a need for a DSP under any circumstances. Most people, especially if you're in a home recording studio and you have a modern Windows or a modern Mac, i.e. an Apple Silicon Mac, it's just a non-issue. It is a non-issue. You can track all day and all night through as many plugins. And, you know, I've got videos out there demonstrating the Mac Studio as an example, you know, doing like hundreds and hundreds, if not 1,000 tracks with multiple plugins on every one, recording through it at a very low buffer. So, you know, you can do it. So I want you to know that in case you may not realize that. Today, it probably makes more money to invest in a more powerful computer than it does DSP, but that's just my personal opinion. You have to make the choice that's right for you. So let me know in the comments down below. Tell me if you think, if you think I'm right, tell me that, okay? And if you think I'm wrong, tell me that. It's okay to disagree with me. Nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm batting 1,000 so far. It doesn't mean this will be my first flop. It very well may be, but I don't think so. Also, if this is something you'd really like to see, then put your comments there below. Let Universal Audio see that. I know they pay attention, especially when I do a video about them, because they've commented on several of my videos over the last year and a half or so. So I think you've got an opportunity to kind of share what you desire there. Now, for those of you, this is one thing that I've never been able to wrap my head around. Let's say today you go out and buy a Universal Audio interface with DSP built into it, and just 4 or 5 months from now, they come out with a brand new one with the type of performance that I talk about. You know, the Universal Audio doesn't owe you anything. Look, we want a lot of people get upset when a company comes out with new tech, saying, what are you going to do for those of us who have been loyal all this year? Well, come on. I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous, in my opinion. You know, that is complete ridiculous. We want companies continuing to invest in research and development. It is a benefit of all of this. If you walk the walk I've walked, you know, in my shoes over the last 30 years of doing this, 20 of which has been in the digital world, you would clearly understand we have come a long, 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 long way so far, so far. And that's only ramping up at a much more rapid pace than it did, let's say, in the first 10 to 13 years or so. The last 7 years or so, we've really seen a lot of improvement when it comes to technology. Converters today, you can buy a relatively moderately priced interface and have great, great conversion that would cost you 3-4 times the price just a few short years ago. So technology is advancing, and that's for the benefit of all of us. So if you happen to be one of those people that's an early adopter, just understand, hey, you bought it the way it was when you bought it. You shouldn't expect that to be the same as you continue to progress throughout your journey in all of this, okay? So if you like the things I talk about on this channel, do me a favor, hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell. Helps me grow the channel. I really appreciate it. Okay, work hard for a lot of you guys, and you're always going to get the straight deal from me, that I promise. Never bought and sold by any manufacturer out there. I'm going to say it like it is, both positive and negative. And if this situation, Universal Audio, does this, I'll be celebrating them from the rooftops. So until next time, I hope every one of you have a great day. Bye-bye.